even if we have mental health problems, we need these life skills. We need these mental health skills, especially if we have some challenging times in our lives. But also we need these even if we don't have any problems going on. We still need to take care of our mental health the same way we take care of our physical health.
What can we learn from youth and youth workers? How can we support each other and become a better version of ourselves? This is the Source of Growth podcast, created by a Hungarian NGO, the Academy of Experience. I am Arpad Barnai, the host of the podcast. In this episode, our guest was Elina Marjamäki from Finland, representing the organization MIELI, where they do an amazing job. This conversation was eye-opening and widening the context of what we can understand under the label of mental health. And basically it was all about how we can rebrand and understand differently mental health in a more positive way. What can we do to promote mental health? Why it matters in the school, in the workplace, and also at home, in the family. I'm really grateful for this conversation, and I hope you get some inspiration too. Hello, Elina.
Hello.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much for accepting this invitation to have this conversation about mental health. I just say a few words about why I thought to invite you. We do youth work locally and internationally, and when mental health comes into the picture, it's usually about something that we should worry about, or there's difficulties, issues, crises. So it's trauma. A lot of associations come like this. Something that other people do, like professionals. Yes. So that's the first thoughts that come to youth workers' mind. And with my colleague Gigi, when we were in Finland and took part in the training, mental health and youth work, it was very, very uplifting, surprising to see, okay, you approach this differently. It's a wider concept. It's very inspiring and useful. And also I could find my place in that picture. That was my immediate thought, like, okay, we should talk about this. And before we jump into this, I thought about asking some kind of introduction from you. You meet someone, I don't know, at the bus stop or wherever. If they ask, okay, what do you do? How do you explain what do you do and what MIELI does?
Okay, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this podcast. And thank you for your nice feedback from the December seminar week we had together. My name is Elina, and I have been working for 15 years now here in MIELI. And our organization is an NGO. We are a non-governmental organization. And what we do in Finland is that we aim at strengthening mental health of everybody in Finland. Wow. And prevent mental health problems. And we have been doing this promotional work already since 1897. And this is something we are very proud of. Always want to mention that we are one of the oldest mental health associations in the whole world.
You should be. You should be.
Yeah, but the work is still pretty much the same when we started. Back in 1897, we already started to talk about the stigma, which you mentioned a lot, that is associated with mental health problems. And back then already people were concerned very much about this stigma that prevents people from asking for help, talking about their problems, and then it increases the negative feelings from their relatives or friends. They're ashamed at that time of their friends or relatives who had some mental health problems. But at the same time, they already then started to talk about that we have to create a society that supports people's mental health, that the structures and political decisions would be such that our mental health is strengthened when we live in this society, that it's not weakened by political decisions. And Arpad, this is the ongoing process because our politicians, they make the decisions, influence on the mental health. It's always some ongoing struggle. So our job is not ending still, although we have started already 126 years ago.
Wow, it's good. Thank you for mentioning this because it sounds like something similar to youth work. So you can invest in it and then you won't see that much harm. It's a kind of invisible job.
Exactly. And that's the real challenge with this, like youth work, early education, the things that teachers do every day in school, but especially like activities like youth work, because when you do it properly, and there is a lot of it, and you meet young people every day, and you support them, and you find their strengths, and let them help find friendships, cope with friendships, etc. That's invisible. We cannot calculate. There is no statistics like now I made this and this many friendships. I helped them create friendships. And then I prevented mental health problems in their adulthood.
Yeah, it's like not direct causal effect. Like, okay, I can prove that's the impact of my work, but still there's knowledge and quite solid knowledge about the impact of youth work and also these interventions of mental health. So that's a big thing. I'm glad you mentioned this. And also that's shocking, the idea that you've been doing this for more than 100 years.
But I was really surprised to hear that they already had these discussions about the kinds of structures in the society that should support people and not weaken them. But of course, it's not the ideal, but the conversation is a long one.
What is your understanding and what do you see at MIELI? How the approach to mental health has changed throughout this period? If you see any change there or any improvement, what do you see?
We are more and more focusing on the idea of mental health as a positive resource and how we can make it concrete and visible to all people who, if we talk about children and young people, there are professionals who work with these children and young people every day, 8 hours a day, coaches who train them, some of them train them every day. They are important adults. We started this work in 2006. Back then it was with teachers because Finland decided to have a new school subject, health education. That was compulsory for all children in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, 13 to 16 years old. We had this opportunity as an NGO to come into the picture, so-called, because we got this health education as a school subject. This health education was invented because we saw the decline in life skills of young people during the 90s. When after recession, there were no compulsory education universally for all students in basic education about life skills. So in 2000, our parliament decided that, okay, new school subject, health education. And it took 4 years to write the content for the health education. And all the NGOs, all the experts, all the health educators, they wanted to get their ideas in. To the school subject. Okay, tobacco, sex education, food, exercise, etc. And also mental health was written into the health education. But back in 2004, it was still very much only about the problems. So teachers were teaching about schizophrenia, about psychosis, about this and that and that. And this was quite a heavy burden for all those young people to bury with them. Oh my God. And then they cried out for help. They were like, oh my God, this mental health this is scary. We don't want to have anything to do with this subject and we need help with this. So because we are an NGO promoting mental health, so we got funding for a 3-year project. We had teachers who taught health education in schools. First year we had 10 of them. And then next year we had 25. And with them, we started to think about what are those skills that support mental health of adolescents. Because adolescence is also a very challenging period for young people. So much turbulence going on in their brains, with emotions, with friendships. They need constant communication and support, more understanding. So with teachers together, study with them, what do they need in order to teach, what kinds of skills young people need. We had a 3-year project and we ended up with a 500-page teacher's manual for 7th, 8th and 9th graders.
Wow.
and 10 lectures. And because, teachers, they don't have time to create material.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so hectic in the school.
Mm-hmm.
So they want concise information about interaction skills.
Mm-hmm.
1 page information, and then 3 pages and 10 different kinds of exercises, what to do with different types of students in
Wow,
order to teach these skills. And
it's
then
so
in the
good.
end of the 3 years, our Ministry of Education, because this was a local project with the city of Vantaa, and city of Vantaa cooperated with us so that they allowed teachers to join our project for these 1-day training sessions. They paid for the substitute teachers during those days when we were thinking about exploring the idea of mental health as a skill. And what does it mean with 7th graders? Because their development phase is totally different from the 9th graders about emotions in 7th grade. It's very concrete, basic emotions, and we start to name them. And then in the 8th grade, it's a little bit more sophisticated. And in the 9th grade, we explored more like these challenging emotions, anxieties and anger and etc. Because children or young people, they also have the right to get education according to their age. So you can't place abstract information on 7th graders' brain. It doesn't work.
Wow. I like this very much. Sorry, just to interrupt. Like you
Sorry,
mentioned, no,
I
it's really good. Like
about it.
that's good because I'm excited too. I think this is just great. Just to mention that adolescents, children need education based on their needs and based on their stage of development and what they are capable of, what words they understand, and also what they are ready for. That's one big thing. And just to clarify, if I understand right, that okay, there's a local project, and first it was brought to life because there was a need of health education in schools, because there were life skills meaning maybe addiction or issues with violence, or what can we picture there?
For example, by the end of 90s, there was an increase in abortion rates.
Mm-hmm.
That raised concern in the society during the 1990s that we have to do something about it.
And then there's this health education, and first it focused more on issues and problems. And I can imagine if I used to work in a foster home and I'm still in the youth work field, I see that whenever you mention these kind of topics, who is frightening, like drugs, addiction. Oh, no, I don't know. I'm not an expert on addiction or drugs. I'm not a sex educator. Oh, I'm not a mental health professional. Like if you mention also mental health issues, then all of a sudden a lot of very scary words appear that I'm not comfortable with or I don't know about them. So if I have to work with that topic, I can picture that it must have been scary for a teacher as well and for the youngsters as well.
Yeah, I have to mention to you that when these young people and some of the teachers also, when they heard that Mental Health Finland is having a project in their school, they were all like, oh my God, has somebody diagnosed us and we are all crazy? What do we need
really?
Yeah. Back then, we had a lot of, banging the head in the wall. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was very tough in the beginning. But switch the conversation into the positive, mental health as a positive resource.
They started with this more problem-focused approach. They understood that, okay, we need this shift. And then they contacted you, and then you started this pilot.
My colleagues who were working back then, they had these conversations with teachers nationally in Finland. And during these conversations, the teachers expressed their feelings about this mental health thing. We don't really want to talk about it, and we are a little bit afraid of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got the idea that we have to create this teaching material about mental health as a positive resource. So we made the proposal for this, in Finland, the NGOs, we get money from this. So we wrote the proposal for the project and then got funding for 3 years.
Wow.
Okay, do this material. And after 3 years, the Ministry of Education decided that, okay, we need to disseminate this to all health education teachers in Finland.
And then you rebranded or shifted the focus of mental health from this more frightening picture, and you could shift it to a new understanding of positive understanding of mental health.
Yeah, and the point is that even if we have mental health problems, we need these life skills. We need these mental health skills, especially if we have these some challenging times in our lives. But also we need these even if we don't have any problems going on. We still need to take care of our mental health the same way we take care of our physical health.
Oh, yeah.
And it should not be any different from that.
Taking away the stigma that you mentioned. You mentioned that more than 100 years ago, it was already there. And then we are moving hopefully away from that notion or this stigmatizing approach. But still is there. Even when you start this school project, first thought is, okay, has someone diagnosed us? Are we crazy?
Exactly, yeah.
This shift, I really love that you mentioned this promoting mental health, because it's not like you realized this is asking too much, and they are saying it's not good for them, like the teachers and the kids. And also it's not just putting a pink ribbon on top of it and selling the same stuff, but new understanding of mental health is there. What you're saying is that if I have a mental health issue, if I have maybe a diagnosis even, still I need a lot of resource and support to manage my life or feel better, be well. And if I don't have any issue that needs professional support, then I still need those skills. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, in this positive psychology field, they talk about flourishing people, flourishing in your life, increasing the emotional skills, improving your relationships with your friends or your family, or dealing with your emotions, having maybe more positive emotions in your life, but also facing the negative or the challenging emotions, not running away from them or not hiding from them, but letting them be a natural part of your life. And also learning to ask for help if there is something happening in your life. We all have issues that we face in our lives. So, and then also the one important thing is to remember that this is not an individual's own skills. We are talking about the school cultures, the school policies that affect the values that we carry, that also affect young people and put pressure on their mental health. It's like combining this, the whole structures to make it more so that it promotes mental health. Like in many times, what young people need is an interested adult. You know, like in the schools, in the beginning, we had a lot of discussion about making safe groups, creating safe groups for young people. And it should not be just the first day of the upper secondary school. And then, okay, now we are done. You have to do it every day to create safe environments and positive environments for young people to work.
Thank you for mentioning this, because the shift you mentioned was more building on new understandings coming from positive psychology, and also that this kind of preventative and resilience building new understandings. And one thing I heard recently, or critique of positive psychology and solution-focused approach, is that it's too individualistic, because it gives all back the responsibility to the individuals. For example, if I'm a company and I hear my employees not feeling well, I say, okay, positive psychology says you can prevent this, and you should do stuff. So it's a misuse of this. And what I hear, this is totally,
it's an excuse for you not to do anything. If you're a boss, just use it as an excuse. And this is a huge misunderstanding. And I hear that also a lot.
I really love this, that it's not about the individual and not about only the professional that helps when there's a bigger issue or challenge in life. It's not just about one or two persons. People are connected beings, and we live in relationships and communities. So they have a huge role in that. And we have different circles of communities. And if I understand right, MIELI does work in helping teachers and professionals get a better understanding of this, and also give advice and materials for decision makers and all levels of communities you want to influence. Do I get it right?
Yes. And like what I talked about, health education teachers, that was a small snowball because we got this funding to disseminate the material for all health education teachers nationally in Finland. And it was not so difficult to market the concept because we offered 2-day training days in nice hotel environment, all meals paid for, and the material free of charge. So it was easy to market this, and the courses were filled. We started to train because back then we didn't have only some teachers were allowed to teach health education because it was a new subject and there was no training for it. They had not received their university degree in health education. Now they are required to have studied in the university level to teach health education. But back then it was physical exercise teachers, home economics teachers, biology teachers, and religion teachers who were allowed. And we always had to say, do you teach health education? Okay, then you are good to go. And then other teachers became jealous. They started to ring us and we also need this information. Hey, come on, we also need the material and we also want to learn about it. So it started with a small snowball and then it has expanded.
Wow, it's so good.
So now we cover the early education, lower secondary school and upper secondary vocational school and youth work.
Wow, great. That's I think like this is a point of already promoting your work. Like if people are interested of any of this, it's good to check out what you do. And what I like also in the story you told, that quite often I see that if there's a teacher or youth worker or social worker and there's a new concern like this one with mental health, it's just thrown on to them, like do something with this. And I don't know, figure it out. And it's like, but I don't have material. I'm not familiar with the field. What should I do? So there's a huge shrugs and question marks regarding this, and helping them with training and starter material so they don't have to work that hard. And this kind of threshold is not high. That's a very good example. Wow.
And one thing that has been really important is that we are not such experts that we would know what they should do. Every material that we have created is done with the professionals who work in the field. So I can tell you that it has not been easy to please teachers or please the early educators when you give them the material to test out with their children or young people, and then they come back and tell you how bad it is. That you have to do this and this to change it. And we need games, we need board games, we need posters. They are very direct in their feedback.
But you know what? Like they were direct. They might have been direct and you were ready to listen. That's what I really appreciate.
You have to be very humble. All your clever ideas are not always so clever in the field.
Yeah, because I'm not teaching there. It's you going there and doing stuff with it. Wow, I like it very much. I just heard later about this, like design thinking and more agile way of working. Like if you want to give people something, then the earlier stage you give it to them and they give you feedback, the better it will serve, because they don't know what they need until they try it and give you feedback. And you did that. And it has a saying, if like something like fail early and fail often, because then you learn from that.
It does require facing a lot of difficult emotions like shame. Shame on me, like giving you this bad text.
You were just doing a great job, because I worked for an IT company for a while, and there was the saying, if you give someone a product and you don't feel shame, then it's too late, because you worked too much on your own without giving it to them. But then it has all these difficult emotions like, oh, sorry, it's not ready. I don't know. Yeah. Wow, you did a wonderful job with that.
Yeah, I still remember my first feedback session with teachers. We were, with my colleague, we were both red in our faces, like just writing, okay, tell us more, what is wrong with that? Okay. And this has happened with all of the professionals. First with teachers, the same thing happened with youth workers. Oh my God, they hated the material first. And then with the kindergarten teachers, one of them asked us, "Do you think we are stupid?" I'm like, "Oh, no. Let's correct this and let's make that better," until they are happy.
So you did first with the schools this, and then you did with kindergarten teachers and youth workers, the same process, giving them the material and
Yeah,
listening to feedback.
always the pilot group.
So in itself, this is a good example. I put it to the shelf. Okay, if we do anything like this, it's a good way of doing it. And
Yeah.
you mentioned youth workers. Could you tell a bit about that? So what do you created with youth workers in the pilot?
Like I said, we had created this really nice 500-page material for teachers. It was a really big and thick source of information. Of course, we thought that, oh my God, we have created this great information. Now we will start working with youth workers. And because youth work, it was more challenging because, of course, teachers, they have it so great. There is a subject, young people, they have to be in the school. It is in the curricula. So now we study this interaction skills. Now we study emotions, etc. It's only the decision by the teacher. And there is clear roles. Teacher teaches and the students, they learn and interact and etc. And then it's the whole new ball game with the youth work.
Oh, yeah.
If they want to give lectures, so do you want to see how many young people would come? And yet they do so much that is not recognized from the mental health point of view.
Oh, yeah.
One of the goals of these materials is also to make this invisible work visible. When we work with teachers, for example, one difference between youth workers and teachers was that we had to talk a lot about, this connection with young people. That was a skill they had to improve. But with youth workers, this is a skill that they have. They connect with young people and they understand them and they work with them and they like young people. Like they are not afraid of young people. But then to increase the level to become also the adult who can teach interaction skills, talk about emotions, talk about safety net of young people, and talk about like coping skills. How do we practice coping skills, or talk about how do they affect our mental health? So there's some other things that we had to work with youth workers to improve this understanding of being an sort of an educator in mental health.
And if we talk about youth workers, in some countries it's quite clear. In some countries it's not that clear. So who can we picture? What were these people doing as youth work?
Okay, Finland has maybe a little bit unique situation because we have an education. You can gain education in secondary school. After basic education, you can go study and become a youth worker. But then we also have in University of Applied Sciences, train youth workers and community workers. And we also have a university level master's program. What we see is that everybody who works with young people is a youth worker. But of course, in Finland, we have these professional names like targeted youth work, outreach youth work, school youth work, and communal youth work. And we have a special education for them.
It's two things at the same time. There's a high level of education and kind of professional pathway where you can learn, and also appreciating the fact that there's a lot of people around youth and there's a huge chance of reaching them and working with them if the adults around them in their free time, in the activities of their choice, where they are voluntarily there, is done in a higher level. And it's done by safe, reliable, and interested adults.
Yeah,
that's huge thing. So even if I'm not an educated youth worker on a university level, I just do, I don't know, I'm a football coach or I have this workshop. It matters a lot. So you provided material for these people, like all of them?
Yes, of course, to all of them. And whatever you do by the profession, we actually have a special project for you football coaches also, or coaches in general, because sports is one big influencer in young people's lives. It matters how you interact with young people. We know so many people whose lives have been supported by their sports coach, who maybe have difficult life situation. And the thing that keeps them going is the encouraging words by the sports coach. We all adults, we are responsible to leave a positive remark on every young people we meet. But in some professions in your line of work, you can do it, like you said, in a more systematic way in your mind. Like you realize that, okay, now I'm helping these young people make safe groups so that nobody is bullied or nobody is being left out, that everybody gets this chance to be part of this group. Maybe this week I can spot every young person's positive qualities or their strengths. I can make it a hobby in my head. I do it 100 remarks every week for every young person I meet. And then I make it a habit that I say it out loud, because you never know what is the thing that supports your mental health. We don't know, but we know that, for example, bullying and being outsider in the group, those are bad for our mental health. That creates mental health problems. So we have to go to those 1-year-olds who start in the kindergarten. We have to start there already to make sure that their interaction with each other is positive and that there are no rules in the group that, okay, I don't play with that boy or girl. We don't allow it. We are interested. So, but it's a little bit difficult sometimes because you have to make something that is a little bit invisible. You have to make it concrete or exciting, and you don't see the results right away.
It's amazing what you say, and just that it's a systematic process, and there's some patience with this on society side. It's not that we want results tomorrow or today, but that's an investment in society actually.
Yeah.
Just a question, like you said, you have a program for coaches, and I find it very important because I know quite a lot of young people with a challenging background who were supported and helped by sports and coaches. And I think it can have a very positive role in building resilience and supporting youth. And at the same time, if the coach is only an ex-athlete who is used to some way of communication, it can be very violent.
Yeah.
It can be very tough. Like, okay, I'm a tough football coach, so I say curse words and shout and stuff like that. So there's this risk, the approach to injuries. If we care about how you are, you should toughen up. You don't cry, like these kind of things. It can be part of sports. But at the same time, the coach is already in the role of kind of educating, like teaching skills, physicals.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a very nice addition. And now I see in professional sports also that taking care of the emotional well-being of an athlete helps the athlete to perform. It's not a soft thing like, okay, we don't do this because we are tough. So you have a program for sports coaches?
Do you remember during the Beijing Olympics, a lot of athletes came out with this, how much they have anxiety and they suffer from many mental health problems. It's a really tough world also. And it's very taxing to your body, and it creates a lot of long-term stress. Is very bad for our mental health. So you need a lot of positive support. But anyways, so we started this program for football coaches. I had a colleague who made this theory and material, and he tested it with his football team, all these activities. And we are going to have it, by the way, in English very soon in our website. We have an online course for sports coaches.
Wow.
I can send you the link when we finish it in English.
Please.
Yeah, so we disseminate this online course, and a lot of coaching training institutions are interested in having this as a subject during their training. So we get more and more new coaches with understanding that, hey, I can play a positive role and I can support at the same time that I train these young people. I know that my work is important. I am an important adult. Many times they are really important figures in young people's lives. So there are so many possibilities also. To be excited in your work is also one important thing. And to see like a bigger picture. Okay, now today I help these young people solve their issues with their friendships. Okay, I see that. But I can also see in the future that, okay, I prevented some mental health problems. Just to have this in mind is important. But it's also challenging to communicate this.
Yeah, thank you. If you send the link, we will add it to the episode description. I really like this because it's similar to the teacher's story, that if I'm a coach or a teacher and I see that there's some issue or conflict in the class, I might see it as something hindering my work or some obstacle that gets in the way that I'm not familiar with. So if you provide me with material, what I can do, and also reframe the whole situation, that I'm not working with something that's getting in my way, but actually I'm working for something positive on the long run.
Yeah.
That's a very nice support of coaches. Wow. Okay. I'm looking forward to it very much.
My colleague said that it will be ready soon and available on our website. So,
and I want to get back to the mental health part that I checked. You provide help for people who are having some kind of crisis or hardship in their lives. You have a helpline and you promote positive health. Is it a good understanding of what you do?
Yes. Okay. We have like 4 pillars in our work. This mental health promotion, this is one very strong pillar, and it's growing all the time, expanding towards work life and etc. Then we have this crisis help. We run this national crisis helpline and crisis chat for young people.
Is this Sekasin?
Sekasin chat, yes. And they are very popular, of course, and they train volunteers to chat with young people. And oftentimes it's, like they said, probably that many times it's enough to have this one conversation where somebody interested, like you said, interested adult listens to them. And it's not an advice line. So like if we adults, in everyday life, we just stop and listen to our young people. Many times we prevent the problems from escalating. But anyways, we have this national crisis helpline, and we have numerous other support groups, peer support, suicide prevention center, different kinds of online help. We run this website that is a platform for over 100 NGOs in Finland. And they provide, from this one website, you can have access to all different kinds of groups that maybe you have issues with. You can have conversations, you can have one-on-one conversations, group conversations, peer support, information, etc. So there's a lot of possibilities there. And the idea is just to give people an opportunity to get help in the early stages of a crisis, for example. A lot of times people, all they need is an interested other person to share their problems with. Because once you share your worries, once you have somebody interested in your issues, and you have to speak out about your worries, you have to formulate the language. You connect your frontal lobe with your emotional center. And that already calms you down, and you are ready to find solutions, or you are ready to accept the situation, or you're ready to think about where to find further help.
If I understand right, you're promoting this very much, that listening and being there with someone is a strong message. Like you're signaling that I'm here with you, and it can have already a calming effect and the sense of safety. And then it also helps to calm the emotional brain down. And you don't have to solve the issue because we're not there yet. You just start to listen. And the question I wanted to ask, you have these professional listeners. If there's a big issue, I go to professional listener, a therapist who provides me with psychology or psychotherapy kind of support. They are trained in that. Okay, they might be not that much afraid of listening because they learned a lot. And there are the volunteers who are trained somewhat, but they feel more ready. And if I'm listening to this conversation and I don't know, a coach or a parent who was not trained, and I hear your message that, okay, I just have to listen. Oh, that's good. That's a good message. But then immediately I might feel that, but what if they say something that's super frightening or something that I cannot handle?
Yeah, that is a common concern.
So how do you support these not so professional listeners, but at the same time might be very good listeners? they've been talking with people all their lives, so they can do that, but they might be afraid of issues that come up. So how do you support?
Well, there is no one solution probably that fits every situation. Sometimes you have to, okay, let's figure out together where we can find more help for you. Or sometimes it's like, okay, tell me more about it. Sometimes it's like showing empathy. Okay, I feel for you. That is really rough. Tell me more. How do you cope? How can I help you? Is one good question. What would help you in this situation? Maybe this is a common concern also with youth workers and also with teachers, that we are afraid to ask how you are, because oh my God.
It's a Pandora's box.
It is really known fact that it has come out in so many places that people oftentimes they need an interested other person, somebody who actively listens. Think about the different solutions together. What would help in this situation? Or we can go find if there is a need for some solution. If you really need some help, let's go check out together. I heard this one there, and a lot of times we need the empathy, that somebody validates our lives problems. That already is really a gift for many people, that you stop and listen and you're interested in their, not in that way that, okay, hey, this is a great solution. This worked for me. No, if it worked for you, it might not work for this person. If we always remember to create some kind of hope and optimism, we can get through this together, and we will somehow remember that there is light in the end of the tunnel.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you found our work useful and inspiring, you can follow us by clicking on the links in the description. If you would like to support us, you can also do that by giving us feedback, recommending our work to others, or sending donations. As an NGO, we are grateful for any type of support. Take care, live well. We hope to see you again.